So two scenarios we have over here. Scenario number one, you just got some money, you saved up for it, and your build budget is, let's say, $600. You go in, you spend the $600, and then you realize you need a monitor. And that's one of the issues that you run into, is that a monitor, believe it or not, can make or break your gaming experience or your build budget. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two, you're trying to sell a computer, and the buyer doesn't want to buy it because it doesn't have a monitor, or you can't move that computer quick enough because it doesn't have a monitor. So then you need to provide them a monitor, and you don't want to hurt your budget by going out and spending $100, $200 on a monitor. So we have two scenarios over here, and we're going to talk about both of them and how we can save money when buying a monitor. So at DLM Tech Garage, we focus mostly on budget builds, budget enthusiasts. Yes, ideally it'd be nice to go out and spend, $500, $600, $700 on a monitor and really get a awesome experience, 240 hertz, 1 millisecond refresh rate, and all the bells and whistles, G-Sync, and whatever is going on. But a lot of times we don't have the budget and the money for it. I know personally I don't, and I got to find other ways to help accommodate my gaming experience or my computer using experience with monitors. So this is where we're at. Option number one, you could go with something that's called refurbished. And if you look over here, I have a refurbished monitor that I purchased on Amazon. Now with Amazon Renew, you have two options. You could buy it at a lower, cheaper price, and Amazon gives you the warranty for 1 year, that if you have any issues with it, they'll return it, or a lot of the times the manufacturer will offer you a warranty on top of they will give you the pre-existing warranty that did come with it. So you just got to check with the manufacturer for that. Option number two, we could go over here and we could buy secondhand. And secondhand monitors are great, but you run a risk. And honestly, with refurbished Renew monitors, you run that risk too. So let's talk about what we can do and how we can avoid this risk. So we're going to talk about buying a secondhand monitor. This monitor over here is the Dell monitors. I typically buy these for $5 to $10. I usually get them on the Facebook Marketplace, more so thrift stores. And with these monitors, I like them because even though they are old, they're 720p monitors, they run great, they're reliable, and have never had an issue with it. And these, for right here, buying this for $5, I could sell a $300, $400 computer, get the price I want for it, and sell it quicker if I throw in a monitor with it. So this is the option number one. So let's talk about what to do when you get this monitor. So first things first is you got to look at the monitor and look at the screen. You want to check for scratches and little gouges and anything else that's been jacked up with this monitor, and see if it's in good condition. Cracked bezels is one thing. Does it power on? Whatever. What I like about these Dells is that when I go to a thrift store, or if I have to buy it on the spot, it does have this self-test feature check. And although it's great, sometimes it's not 100% reliable. And I have a software that I use, which later on in the video, we'll talk about this software. So now, if you're going to clean this monitor, let's talk about cleaning tips. I like to use a microfiber towel, and that'll usually wipe off any of the dirt that's going on. So now, if you have like some grime or some grease on it, or worst case scenario, I've seen this, a smoker's monitor where they have that yellow nicotine film, it doesn't come off as easy. Typically what I do is I get some very diluted soap and water, more so diluted on the soap part, wipe it up real quick with the microfiber towel. That works out real good. Another option is also vinegar and water, very dilute on the vinegar, and that works really good at getting this out. It's not harsh like ammonia or alcohol, so it's not going to leave any streaks, and it's not going to do any fading or cause any damage to it. Wipe lightly, and that typically works really well, and that's how I clean these monitors, and that has always been a great success on that. Now for these refurbished Renew monitors, they typically, the screen is already clean, so you don't have to worry about that, and it's coming from a company, either refurbished Renew from the manufacturer, like this one came from ViewSonic through Amazon, and it's already clean. So you don't have to worry about that. So now what refurbished means is typically like the items are often ones that they've been opened, but for whatever reason, they've been sent back to the manufacturer. Most time it comes with the boxes and cables. This one did. Now, if you're buying on Amazon, going through their Renew program, you could get these for a really decent price. This monitor typically goes for about $90. I paid $66 with it, with shipping, taxes, and everything. and this thing was in brand spanking new condition. I also got the 1-year Amazon guarantee that if there's anything wrong with it, they'll take it back. Also, ViewSonic still has some remaining warranty on it, especially since this monitor was made in 2019. So it's definitely something to consider. So now, why would you want a monitor like this? Surely there's something wrong with it. In the case of refurbished monitors, you get it from a reputable dealer, so it has been gone through. You know, if the monitor was returned for an issue, it should typically be repaired and be back to the manufacturer's saleable specification. I always recommend buying from reputable dealers, and that's why I always go through the renew process on that one. So now that you've decided which way you want to go, either you want to go with a renew monitor and save a lot of money and still get a good gaming experience, because you could get even better monitors. I've seen $300-$400 monitors go for literally a third of the price. How can I make sure that this monitor was actually thoroughly checked? And if I go with a second-hand monitor, how can I make sure I'm not getting screwed on it too much? And like I said, a lot of monitors have the self-test features, which does help. If you're buying it from a second-hand store, they're usually pretty good with, if it doesn't work, they'll give you credit. I've rarely seen one that gives you your money back. If you're buying it from somebody on the Facebook Marketplace on that, you typically can have them test it for you, and that works pretty well, and that gives you an idea where it's at. So there's a software I like to use, and we're going to take a look at the software. And I'm not going to be really doing an in-depth view on the software that I use to test monitors, but I just want to give you an idea of a software that you can use to kind of ensure what's wrong with the monitor. And let's talk about it. So this program that I use is EIZO, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a monitor test. It's free, it's online. I'll put a link below to the website that I use. And this has actually helped me find bad monitors and actually helped me diagnose some video issues. One issue that I run into sometimes is that a customer will say, hey, my video card is going bad, I'm getting weird things going on. And this software has actually helped me to realize that it wasn't the graphics card, it was actually the monitor was going bad. So that is something to consider, and this will kind of help you get in the right direction of it. So when you go up to this website, you can come over here and you can click Start Test. What this thing will do is it'll test patterns, defective pixels, which is a big thing because even though the monitor may look good right now, there may be a dead pixel that you might not see or you might miss. Dead pixels are typically obvious, but this will give you a better idea of if you're missing one. It'll test uniformity, color distances, gradients, sharpness, viewing angles, gamma, response time. It works really well. And if the test is not it's not gonna tell you if it passes or fails, because that's up to you to kind of decide. But what it will do is if you see something that doesn't seem right, that's gonna give you an idea that this monitor is just not working right. So we're gonna do it with this one, and I'm gonna show you real quick. So we hit Start Test, and right now this is gonna test patterns. So the test pattern pretty much stating is that it checks the image quality, the circle should be complete and round, the lines and the frequent pattern should be clear and defined, and the color gradient should not have any breaks or any banding whatsoever. So looking through this, and I know the camera probably doesn't capture it too well, I can see that everything looks good, my colors look right, I'm not seeing no jagged lines or whatnot. So I come up to the left over here on the left side of the screen, and I could go to the next test. So let's say I want to test defective pixels on black. So what it's going to do is going to give me a black screen. Now make sure your monitor is clean, because I thought I had a dead pixel and it was just a speck of dust over here. And if I look through the whole screen, just look carefully, I can honestly see that I have no defective pixels on black. You would see like a pixel shining out in a weird color, anything like that. And any pixels that are bad will actually show up right over here. So the next one that we can do is if we go to test 3, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but you could test it on white, green, whatever, uniformity. And it kind of gives you the type of uniformity, like if you have an abrupt break in the uniformity of the color, that's usually a sign that something's going wrong in the monitor without getting into technical details. And you could change the gray tone just depending on your monitor, how light, how dark. Gives you an idea. And this also is good at testing the backlight. If you have a problem with the backlight or a backlight that's failing, these tests right over here will kind of give you an idea that, hey, the backlight is failing. The monitor may look fine, but it's not going to have the uniformity or clarity that it should have. And if we go through all these tests over here, sharpness, for example, you could look at the letters and the words over here. And what you're pretty much looking for is how sharp the words are. If you're looking at it and the words look a little jagged, they're blurred, then yeah, another sign that your monitor is bad. So let's go ahead and let's plug in our secondhand monitor and let's see how this one holds up. So we got our older Dell monitor plugged in. Like I said, I bought this secondhand. I think I got this one at a thrift store. I paid $5 for it. At the thrift store, I was able to test it and just make sure that it powered on. And it did. It powered on. It gave me the self-test. I didn't see anything wonky or anything like that. So I felt good taking the gamble with this monitor. So now that I have it here, I need to find out, is there anything else I'm missing or wrong with it? So we're going to start the test again. And we're going to look for uniformity and unity and all that good stuff on it. And we're going to go through just all the different tests over here. Pixels on black. As you can see, I have no dead pixels over here. On red and all that stuff. Sharpness. The sharpness looks pretty good on it. Viewing angle, the viewing angle. So now if you change the angle over here, you can see, how the backlight is illuminating over here. So that gives you an idea if the backlight is going out. Gamma. So that gives you an idea of that one. And it also gives you an idea of your response times. So let's go back over here. And it explains and it goes through this test. I'm not going to go into this. It's something that you guys can kind of just read and just educate yourself on it. And you can check the response time to get an idea of what your response is and how it's going to look and all that stuff. So going through this test, and I've gone through it before, this is actually a good monitor. Monitor still has plenty of life in it. The backlight is still good. And I would feel comfortable selling this monitor, well, not selling this monitor, but adding it to a build that I was doing. So if I have a build that's $300 or $400 that I'm selling, I could add in this monitor, which only costs me $5, feel comfortable that they're getting a decent monitor that's going to get them started until they're able to upgrade to something better. So let's go back to our normal monitor and let's wrap this video up. All right, so what can we take away from this video? Like I talked about in the beginning of the video, a monitor can help or break your build budget. If you want to spend all the extra money on your monitor, you're going to have to take away from this or budget into consideration the price of your monitor. I've seen this many times where people come up to me, they want a build for $600. We spend the whole $600 and get them a decent build, but then they need a monitor and they realize the TV they had doesn't work at home or the monitor they have is not going to cut it. They're not happy with their gaming experience on that, and a lot of it's because of the monitor. So now, if you want to save some money, you could go with Amazon Renew or go through the manufacturers and get one of their Renew or refurbished monitors. They're great. They still have good warranties on it, and you can also test it when you get home to make sure that there was nothing wrong with the monitor on that fact. Now, if you really need to save money and you just need to get your feet wet, then I recommend these secondhand monitors. These secondhand monitors are still pretty good, and there's a way to test it to make sure that you're getting a good monitor. I buy these primarily, number one, for testing, but we've upgraded to a newer one. But I also buy them so that when I'm selling a computer, by throwing this $5, $10 investment on my part, I can actually get the asking price that I want for the computer, and I've been able to sell computers a lot quicker by throwing in a monitor. So it's up to you which way you want to go. You need to consider how much you want to spend on your monitor and factor that into your budget. If you're budgeting $600, $700 for the computer, all the parts, then you need to consider at least $100. If you're going to go Renew or even new, at least $100 to $300, $400, depending on the type of monitor you want for your budget. Or you could just go to a secondhand store or look online and get one of these monitors. I always buy these monitors. I test them. I actually had one that was bad one time, took it to the thrift store. They had another one in stock. That worked out great. I've bought these Renewed monitors. I've never had issues with them. And if I did, I'm sure the warranty process is pretty simple. And most of the times when you buy them, they do come with the box, cables. This one came with everything I needed. I paid $66 by going through the Amazon Renew, and it was a great budget idea. So definitely comment down below. Let me know what you think, what type of monitors you recommend, your experience buying used monitors, or a budget-friendly monitor that you might think is something that we need to consider when buying used monitors. Like I said, in your build, and especially in this time where computer parts are so expensive, this could be the way that you can save a few extra dollars and throw a couple extra more dollars into the type of build you're using. So if you liked the video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.